Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda.
All right, good evening, people. Good evening, Frank. How you going, mate? Firstly, can everyone just help us share it out? We've still got no access to the Cabal's channels, guys. The Facebook and Fakebook, whatever you want to call it. But if you could help us out and we use their platform against them, that is a great thing. So, Frank, how you going, mate? Been a week.
Yeah, mate, it's been really good. I've had a bit of a quiet week this week, a lot of reflection week, Dave, so we know what that's like.
Yeah.
Just to recap on last week, I made a mention with Deborah Robinson. He was wrongly accused, for being a whistleblower. Anyway, she's at the moment, she's in Grafton Jail at the moment. But I just want to, and I'm not going to say too much because obviously I've got some information, but I won't share that yet. But to Danielle Mulholland, who was the former mayor down in that region, I think it's time for you to come out publicly or do the right thing and let Deborah off and get her out. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, Dave.
Oh, and I forget the word, but straight into what I'm about to say, guys, which is tonight's show, we're going to bring on a good mate of mine, and he's a good mate of mine, a very good mate. He's our local diver down the harbour here, so when Guru drops phones and whatever, brake calipers and, bottles of milk and whatever else might sink, well, Dano's the man, especially while I've been crooked, that is straight down here, guys, looking after anyone in the harbour. So Dennis is on Facebook, Dennis Matthews, because after tonight, you might just want to go and have a look at a few things, guys, and actually follow up and, give him a bit of support, like we all need, because this guy, this is another bullshit story, guys, all right? This guy is a hard worker. He's worked all his life, all right? He was in the mines. He owns properties. He's a respectable person. Now what he does, he won't take any money for any work, all right? And I know this because I get the guy down who died the harbour for me, all right? But he works on a barter system. So he comes down there, well, I feed him. I give him a coffee or whatever. That's how Dennis works. Never taking a cent, mate. All right. And he's one of the most community-minded, great guys that you'll ever meet. You know, I'm not fucking blowing hot air up his skirt or anything else. He's out the back of the boat. We're about to bring him in. Okay, but I'm just telling you what sort of a guy this guy is. And then he's going to come in and tell you how he's been lied about, how he's been jailed. Never been in trouble with the police, mate. Never. All right. But of late, been locked up a couple of times. So let's introduce Dennis and get him in here. And his documents are all on Facebook, guys, if you'd like to go and have a look at them. But Deno, how you going there, mate, out the back of the boat?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for setting me up with the hardware so I can get a bit of airtime. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all, mate. So tell us about your story, Dennis. I'll just give people an indication of who you are. And I've seen all these documents and what you do for our community. And now I want to explain to them what your community has done to you. So take it away.
Thanks. And hello, Franco and Kaz. We probably started about 6-7 years ago. I had nothing but false allegations from about 2019 right through, and it ended up in a federal court where I had someone has taken me in there. I'm trying to see my two bubs. I've got two beautiful children, Evie and Jai, and we it was very, very difficult time, and I was sort of doing all right. I've got Judge Campbell, and he's saying, you know, what has this father done wrong? What has this father done wrong? And then, you know, a few more years into it, I run out of money. I spent over 1.1 million in the federal court here in Wollongong, and associated things, you know, like supervised visits and, you know, all the other things that it's a bit of an industry anyway, the way it runs here, this federal court.
Yep.
And it's just gone on for years and years and years, and eventually the police got hold of it and you know, just got sick of it, and they've gone and written a 5-page dossier that this father is probably the most persecuted individual. He's never had an infraction with any facet of the law. He's nearly 60 years old. Never had a parking ticket. Never even had a library fine, and it's everything has just been dispelled. Like the police, I can't thank Detective Saunders and Detective Alston from Macquarie Fields, who sat out and done 5 pages and rebutted every single allegation that was against me, and to have it take it to the federal court and to be totally ignored. And now I don't see my bubs and haven't seen them for a very long time. And
some of these allegations, Dennis, were what I've seen, mate, absolutely horrific, coming from a person that you're going to let them know tonight. Yeah, Haley.
Yeah, never been in trouble with the law, but accused of drive-by shootings, blowing up cars, dealing drugs, access to weapons, breaking into houses. She claimed I broke into a house a few times. Everything was totally dispelled by these two officers that have probably 70 years of experience between them, and only to be totally ignored by the federal court. And then just as I get close to the finality, Judge Campbell happened to sit on his findings for about 13 months, and the federal court, you know, usually they wait, you know, 1 to 3 months and you have it, but this occasion 13 months. So I wrote to the Law Society. The Law Society wrote to Will Alstigren, who's the Chief Justice for the amalgamated court, and then that was on the 13th of December last year, 2025. And then the director of the federal court, 11 days later, rings up Mr. Abbott from Inspector Abbott from Campbelltown and Police Station, says that, Mr. Matthews, I heard him on multiple occasions, verbatim, that he's going to mass murder the judge, Campbell, the court officials, my ex, my kids, the other side's legal team, and so on and so forth. And anyway, that taken as gospel, and I had 11 detectives chasing me for 3.5 weeks until Detective Alston rings me up and says, "Oh, I've been looking for you." And I said, "Well, I'm away." So when I come back, I went and seen him, and yeah, I was arrested. And then I was arrested again, and actually just prior to that, so it was in January, I was arrested twice. But on the 14th of the 1st this year, the police detective D. Martin in a report, which Dave the Guru has said, I've brought all the paperwork, so I don't expect people to trust what I say. I actually show the police reports, and I put them up on my Facebook page, down UNNT. I'm wearing a pink shirt and a red car. I'd love a friend request, but my Facebook page is open. So I want everyone to see it, and I'd say I'm going to get in a fair bit of trouble.
The allegations about blowing people up and this, that, and the other, where'd they come from?
Well, they've come from my ex, and just the way that it's very topical. And look, women need to be protected. And there's some atrocious guys out there doing some really pathetic things to ladies, and I understand. But the overkill with this is sweeping up innocent guys. So I've been going through that federal court for 7 years. I've had 4 friends have committed suicide going through that. Three committed suicide. And Gordon Iskra jumped out of the Novotel window here in 2018, not seeing his daughter Jasmine, and he's severely crippled. Tom Casser hung himself in his garage. Frank Toth, it's coming up for his 2nd year anniversary for his. Yeah. So on the 29th of August in 24, Frank not seen his bubs 2.5 years and had enough. And Adam Healy's gone as well, and it's just absolutely amazing that you can have and as Pauline Hanson said, and also John, I'll remember his name in a minute. They're saying that 3 to 7 fathers every day are dying at the hands of the family court. But just getting back, so my ex has made all these allegations that I'm blowing up cars and stuff, and I've got all that in writing, and none of that raised an eyebrow with the judge. He just, no, you're not seeing your kids until they're 18. So it's quite an amazing situation. But there's hundreds and thousands of fathers are going through this predicament at the moment, and there is an overkill there, and we have got one late every 8 days, which is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. And I don't even mind being part of, if you've got to lock up 20 guys to save one lady, that's a fair thing at the moment, because until the laws are improved to protect women, that's going to be what's happening. But the difference with mine is that the last, so Dave Ainsworth is chief detective inspector for the Illawarra region, and I've had regular contact with him, and he's been a good person to bounce things off over the years, and I've known him for many decades. And I warned him. I said, look, I've got all these false allegations. I keep getting locked up. I said, I'm released all the time. Paul Baratov come and raided my house on another false allegation, walked out, sorry, I've been misinformed. Every time I get locked up, I'm released, and sorry, it's another false allegation. And it sort of started wearing pretty thin. So I've let Brad Ainsworth, saves his dad, Brad Ainsworth again. I just said, look, I'm getting these false allegations are really knocking me around. And lo and behold, Hayley Foster, director of the federal court, and the director for the family violence for the federal court here in Wollongong, 43 Borelli Street, just rang up Dale Abbott, Inspector Dale Abbott from Campbelltown Police, and just let her imagination run wild. Mr. Matthews, I've heard him on multiple occasions, never met this woman, never even, I've never crossed paths with her. I've never seen her, yet she claims that she's heard me on multiple occasions say that I'm going to mass murder all these people and mass suicide myself as well at the end of it. So, and when she was asked to do a follow-up statement, she had to do a follow-up statement by the 5th of this year, and she totally backpedaled, and she won't do the official statement. She's happy to do a police statement where she's made these allegations, had me locked up twice, but then she won't do a follow-up official recorded statement. But anyway, I've got what she said. I've shown Dave, the guru, and as I said, everything I've said I can back up 100%. But you know, Paul Barrett, when I come and raided my house, he was just a sergeant. Now he's a detective. I don't know how many houses you got to raid with false information and go from sergeant to.
Only a couple. Yeah, it's not much these days. There's not enough around.
Yeah. Well, look, it's just highly embarrassing. You know, I'm pretty well known around Wollongong, and all of a sudden, I got police cars all around my house, and they're coming through and throwing stuff everywhere, and then they leave. Oh, sorry, we've been misinformed. You know, so to this very minute I'm sitting here, I've never had a conviction in my life. I've got a couple of charges on me now, which I'm pretty sure I can get rid of. They're very minor, like an attempted breach and carry a knife, and I've always carried a knife. Wherever I go, I've always had a knife on me, and I've been arrested.
Well, maybe if you carried a machete, mate, you might be, and you got yourself a bit darker, you know, getting the sun a bit more, you might be all right. Come in, Frank.
I was going to elaborate. You know, it's interesting because, you know, I thought the court was about, you know, you're innocent until proven guilty, you know. And, you know, as you said, there's all these false allegations. Now, I'm going to put it out. The question is, and the question remains, is Dennis a non-capable father? Forget about everything else, right? Is Dennis a capable father of looking after his children? I'd say yes, he is. Yeah. That's exactly right. So everything else, this counter argument is nonsense, right? Dennis knows and he's capable, and he's certainly capable of looking after his kids. There's nothing stopping Dennis from being able to see his children. There shouldn't be.
It's very interesting. It's very timely because we're hearing that a farm was raided yesterday, I think it was, or Mike Holt reported that there was a farm raided yesterday, and they took everything from the people, and they were common law people, all of their electronics and that. Mona's also put out something that the people involved in some sort of court case are basically, people that are not the people directly, but people associated with them. They're getting arrested, or they're getting raided at the moment as well. So it's very interesting. Like, you've also got a situation at the moment where Melbourne's just exploding with the amount of crime. You've got a tradie that lost his hand, a tradie losing his hand, like in a machete attack. You've got this one here where there was there were 3 home invasions in Melbourne committed by the same gang. Guy had a gun pointed to his head, a machete was held to his stomach, and a knife to his throat in front of his wife. So you have all of these situations, and they're getting off with warnings or bailed. And so you've kind of got to ask the question, what is really going on?
It's the alpha male. Dennis is an alpha male, mate. He's got bigger biceps than Maguire's ever had. I'm telling you, the guy's built like a fucking brick shithouse, mate, and he's a typical alpha male, and they don't like him, Kaz. We all know it, you know? Would you say that's right, Dennis? In a way.
As you said, Kaz, where's the consistency with this? And that's what I struggle with.
Yeah. And you know what? The way I see it, Dennis, even if you had a checkered past, right, it doesn't make you who you are today, right? And I'm not saying, because I don't know your background, right? But what I'm saying is you should have no reason for not being able to spend time with your children. End of story. None.
Well, we're seeing a lot of cases as well where people have adopted children and then basically abuse them to death. You know, you also have situations in the UK that I don't know if you've read the UK report. I haven't read it, but somebody's done a summary and it's just horrendous. Like the abuse that happened with immigration gangs or migrant gangs, it was just absolutely horrific. And yet
Good fathers, can't get access.
Good fathers were arrested. Good fathers trying to protect their children were arrested. Girls that were raped were basically arrested. And it was just, it's just horrendous. Like, it's just a collapse of law.
Yeah, well, it's non-existent, Cass.
Robert Garza in Texas at the moment, he's making some very, very strong headway where they're going back to the 50-50. Now, they don't like that here in this country. If you take the children off the father, who's normally the provider, and he has some resources, he's going to fight and fight and fight. If you take the children off the lady and give them to the father, she hasn't got the resources. She's generally, she's the mum, she's the nurturer that hangs at home, and there's no fight. So they create a situation where they know the father will fight. He will strive very hard to get his children back. He'll use all his money. Now, Will Alstegren, the Chief Justice that I was talking about, he's done 2 articles in 2021 and 2023 where he said that this organisation that he's governing is still broken. They've amalgamated the two, and it's still broken. It's still not working, and he's very concerned that it's taking people's life savings to get through the court. And look at myself, 7 years. And now I've got the director of the federal court has totally made up a hoax, which has totally destroyed my case. Now the whole thing is going to have to start again because she's totally perverted the course of the case before the Judge Campbell's handed down his finding. And now whether she intended to do that or not, it goes, if a layperson looks at it and says, well, that could have had an influence on the judge's decision, well, we have to take that. So now I'm pushing hard to have this, because he handed down his findings and it was atrocious, obviously, because I'm threatening to kill judges and lawyers and all that. So, he should never see his kids again. But now that Detective Marcinkowski and Detective Sarah Meath, I can't thank those two enough. They pushed and pushed and pushed. And in the documentation that I showed Guru, it's very clear. Detective Meath went to the federal court here in Wollongong umpteen times to try and get information out of the original witness, which was Kerry Virgo, who works for Relationships Australia. Now, I'm in a room with him, and I've had a private conversation with him. And in that conversation, I've said, I hope I don't die alone like my friend Frank Toth. Frank Toth killed himself. He's died alone. He wasn't seeing his kids 2.5 years, and it's extremely sad. That somehow has been leaked out of that room. I don't know whether Hayley Foster had a coffee cup up against the door, or whether she had a lifting device in the room, or whether my caseworker, the support worker, has leaked my information. And in that federal court in Wollongong, I can prove that Hayley Foster has made that up, because now Detective Dean Marcinkowski has said flat out, well, they've watered it down and said, Hayley Foster, when she was asked to do a statement, she just decided not to. He's watered it down, saying, it was miscommunicated. It can't be miscommunicated. Hayley Foster, director of the federal court, said flat out, them on multiple occasions. When I sat in the courtroom with Judge Beattie on the 26th of January this year, I really pushed the situation. I said, and I gave there's no date, there's no times, there's no locations for any of that. So she said, well, she turned to the DPP and she said, you guys need to come up with that. If you don't come up with that, I'm going to throw on the case out. But in the meantime, I've got these attempted breach and carry a knife. So, that goes on 12 months. It gets sucked up into the legal system. So the biggest on the false imprisonment, and also these very minor that have spawned off a hoax, mind you. So that Hayley Foster's hoax, there was an APC put out for all the people that I was going to kill. I've got all these kill zones set up. So anywhere in Wollongong, I've got from 200 to 1,000 metres. that anywhere where a judge, a legal rep, a lawyer, or anyone might have coffee, not be there. Anywhere in Canberra, there is more. There's another kill zone set up there, and then in Sydney, because a couple of the lawyers come from Sydney, so which has totally isolated me from establishing a legal team, because I'm not allowed to go there. And as an old person, I tend to like doing things not in face to face. Yet that has all been taken away from me, which is it's very strategic in what they've done and what they've established. These things are going to stay for 12 months until I get to court. So if someone had to explain this situation, I wouldn't have believed it.
So I just want to recap there because your sound was cutting out very badly, actually. So what's happened is you're not allowed to breach your zones, but all of the zones are court areas where you actually need to go to seek justice in order to have this stuff overturned.
Yeah. Pretty ironic, isn't it, Kaz?
We've had a bit of trouble with the internet, but yeah, go quickly, Frank. Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis, look, the system is completely broken, right? And they know that. The thing is, they're in a situation where they're trying to patch up everything that they've done over the past, right? Your case is probably like multiple cases. Now, once that crack opens, right, guess what? It's a floodgate. It's a floodgate of knowing what they've done. And so it's not you, it's not the police that have helped you out, it's the system alone. And they know it. And they've known it for a long, long time, right? It is completely fraudulent on so many levels, right? But we won't go there right now. But I'm just letting you know, mate, that what they're doing now is they're stalling. Exactly what they're doing. They're stalling because they know that once this thing cracks, it's going to cascade like a waterfall, mate. I'm telling you now, Dennis.
Yeah, I think that's been happening for a long time, and I appreciate you thinking that my case is very similar to a lot of others. I've spoken to some legal people. They said they've never, ever heard of the director of a federal court, Miss Hayley Foster, being caught red-handed. It's the first time in the history of the federal court that a director has been caught red-handed lying. And just at the drop of a hat, this woman will make up a story.
A Wollongong boy. What a dickhead.
Well, I don't know. I feel I've got to sort of voice things because I've got a lot of friends that aren't here anymore. And, you know, we're losing anywhere. If you listen to Pauline Hanson when she had parliamentary privilege, she went out and said, look, due to the family court, the stats I've got, we're losing 3 fathers a day. You know, we're losing one woman every 8 days, and that's atrocious. But in that same time period, we're losing, over 20 fathers. Now, if you listen to John Ruddock, sorry, that was his name. I went and sat with his assistant the other day, and their stats are 7. We're losing 7 men a day attributed to the family court and the way it's misrun. And I can prove that Miss Hayley Foster is corrupt and she's lied. And this is all over my Facebook. So this will have no reflection on the guru or his platform. I've said this, and I've been saying this for over 6 months. So if they were going to sue me, they would have done it by now. If they were going to shut me down, they would have done it by now. But this information, the paperwork, I've screenshotted it. I've put it up on social media. It is sitting there for whoever wants to look at it. I can prove Hayley Foster at the top, the director of that federal court, 43 Burleigh Street, Wollongong, has made up an atrocious lie to destroy me and any attempt I have with my children. I can prove that Beth Whitaker, the head clerk at Wollongong as well, Beth Whitaker, she is the head clerk there. She banned me from the subpoena room 3 months before my trial started. And then when I get into my trial, Judge Campbell's yelling at me over and over again. You need to be able to I said, Your Honour, I can't answer these questions. I haven't had a chance to have a look at the material. He goes, that's rubbish. He goes, if that was the case, he goes, I would have been informed because this trial would not be able to operate. Well, I'm telling you, that's what's happened, Your Honour. And he goes, no, that's not true. That didn't happen. Well, and then I pointed to the back of the room where Kerry Virgo was sitting, and Kerry nodded because he was standing there when I got banned from the subpoena room. So if you're banned from the subpoena and you can't look at your material, how can you defend yourself in your case? But anyway, that run through, and as I said,
This is what they do, Dennis. Yeah, I've got a story on our case, guys. I'm not going to let it out yet, but maybe by next Wednesday we'll be able to. And again, amazing. All right, just how corrupt this system is, guys. Okay, but yeah, we just got to keep working at it. But yeah. So look, let's just for a minute, Kaz, you want to look the orange? Who's this orange lady I'm hearing about? Is that Trump's second sister or something? Because everyone out there is talking about this orange lady giving Parliament heaps and back and running amok. So
no, it's actually very.
Can I just
very
add
telling.
just one more thing? John Ruddock was on Ben Fordham the other day.
Wow.
To reinstate the police that didn't take the old you know what, and that was all over Ben Fordham. So, you know, they actually, Ben owes you an apology, Dave. A big one.
Oh, my word, he does. Tried to get me there again. There you go. Ben Fordham and his mate, you know, the police commissioner, and this, that, and the other tried to get me. Well, they did.
That's right.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, in the awakening process, we've got to take her through a few punches, and we've taken a few punches, and now they're actually joining us. So I don't know that we'll ever get an apology, but at least they're starting to wake up. And this
hey, but feel good about it, all right? The good book says that if you're going to do the right thing in this corrupt world, that you will be persecuted, okay, and you will have a hard time. So that just shows you guys, all right, that things are happening. You know, good people, me and Dano. Look at the persecution. Why? Because we're not afraid to speak our truths. All right, and every one of you has got it coming at some stage. But stand tall, stand strong.
That's
all right, because the truth always prevails.
Yeah. You've got to love what Pauline's doing though at the moment. Just get a load of this.
Gone. There's no need for it anymore. The internet has overtaken the need for it.
And Senator, you have said you want to abolish SBS. You said in your speech the internet has taken over the need for it. But SBS is providing Australian news in 60 languages, not international news alone.
We've got 7,
so isn't
9,
that in line
10, 2,
let them learn English.
Language in up to 60
and then
languages.
Then you've also got, you know, the other forms of internet as well. Sky's great to go and look for news. So
I'm talking about in 60 languages to help people integrate into Australia.
I'm sorry.
Is that not
look,
part
I
of
can
your
understand you.
So we have
we
that.
have to use those two knuckleheads clips, really. But anyway, they
did a good job. So you've got the basically Australia's demand ABC be stripped of the taxpayer funding and bombshell. Now those stats were actually 71% of Greens voters and 67% of Labor voters. So look, we're getting there. It may be a beachhead as far as that sort of stuff. I love this clip though. I've got to play this.
Senator Hanson, Sarah Martin from The Guardian. Taxpayers are paying more than $150,000 a year for your daughter, Lee Hanson, to seemingly campaign full-time in Tasmania while employed as a political advisor for a New South Wales senator. Did you have any role in appointing her to that position?
Honestly, you never give up. I've never seen a person that's such a trashy journalist, you know, and what you put out.
she's like,
oh, yeah, and she continues to give us some as well. Yeah, it's great, man.
And then, but like, what's really good is she's actually open. So the boys from the Australian Lobby Group. So what they've done is they've actually submitted their proposals to her, and and basically they've basically said, yeah, these are great. We're going to back this. So she's actually allowing their platforms, the people who actually really care about Australia, to actually have their voice for policy development as opposed to foreign lobbyists.
As I said, guys, I'm no Pauline Hanson fan, okay, but I am just loving what's going on at the moment. You know, it is just absolutely brilliant.
It's becoming very interesting, and I like that you've brought her up, Kaz, because Pauline Hanson's very, very strong against the family court and the way the family court's being run. And she's a number of times she stood up in Parliament and done a big one on parental alienation. She's actually been alienated from her own grandson at a time. I'm not sure whether that's still the case, but her son and the partner split, and the same thing. And then she ended up chairing a review into the family court.
Yeah.
Well, it is a star chamber, really, when you look at how it's being run, and it's not really.
It's an industry.
It's not run under proper law, and we need to actually get back to proper law.
No, there is no laws. It's up to the discretion of the judge, and that's what's very.
What's happened? What happened is we had laws that were quite reasonable throughout the 60s and 70s and stuff, but then what they do is they take that law and they add an amendment. And this is how they do it, guys. They take the old law that was reasonable and they update it. And this is why they don't have to pass new fucking laws, because they take an existing one and at midnight fucking, get the eraser out and fucking start and redo shit. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. They do it at will.
That's why they all need to be subjected to the Constitution, which they're not. So that's why the challenges that Jackie are running are so important, because this actually wipes out all of our issues in a lot of respect if we can just force them into acknowledging that is the law. So, all right, let's just get around some news here, because we need to. Look, guys, Celine against the machine. Oh, my goodness, this is really terrible.
Like this. I'm usually a really private person, but this is something that has fundamentally changed me as a person, so I have to talk about it. I'm going to try not to cry, but no promises. So for those who know me in person, who know me beyond the, Celine against the machine persona that I have online, you know that my daughter, my beautiful baby girl, is my world. I'm a full-time solo single mum. My entire life revolves around her. She's everything to me. Now, since she was around maybe 7 or 8 months, I had a feeling in my gut that something wasn't quite right with her. I just didn't know what it was. She was just different. There was something about her that was just different. So at the beginning of the year, when we moved into our new place together, I left no stone unturned trying to figure out what was going on with her. Last week, we got the diagnosis. She has something that's called Rett syndrome. Now, for the majority of you watching this, I would assume, like myself, you have no idea what Rett syndrome is. It is a very, 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 very rare neurological disorder. It affects 1 in 10,000 girls. It's a mutation on the X chromosome, so it's sex specific, and it pretty much affects every part of your day-to-day life. She's never going to be able to be independent and live a normal life.
No, she is. Get onto the natural products. Kaz has been kicked out by the good. She'll be back in a minute. We're having plenty of trouble tonight, guys. As I said, they're going to cane us, right? As this goes further and further.
There's a GoFundMe for it.
Right? There's a GoFundMe in the comments, guys. But as we go further and further into this dystopian bullshit that the government has for us, we're going to find it harder and harder to get this information out. So now is like no other time, guys. Share the shit out of it.
They just booted me. This is the GoFundMe. Yep. Guys, if anybody wants to run a fundraiser or whatever, please let us know. We'll get behind you and back you. We run it, except we're kind of busy all the time. I've just lost everything in the studio again. So anyway, look, just other important news. I just want to skip over.
That's why the super producer.
Look, I'm loving the awakening of Husey that's going on at the moment.
And Jim have just accepted mad pay rises for them and all their mates. Mad pay rises.
Husey's
Albo's
good.
Now the 4th highest paid government leader in the world. 14th biggest economy. But they only do things because of fairness. You've got to remember that. So they must be doing really well to fairly accept these pay rises, which they did not have to accept. They could have declined the pay rises. Need to remember that. So it must be really fair. Since Albo and Jim turned up, the biggest decline in living standards in Australian modern history. quite exceptional, actually.
By design, Yuzi. You're waking up, son.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really important at the moment, everyone is basically talking about the ethnic replacement that's going on. And also, there's two things that's really important here, and that's with regards to what Stephen Chavera came out and said.
Total gaslighting from the mainstream media. There has never, ever in Australia's history been consensus on the policy of multiculturalism. In fact, in 1988, the Fitzgerald report into immigration in Australia came out, and it clearly stated that while Australians had no problems with limited immigration, they believed that the policy of multiculturalism was an uninvited form of social engineering, and they didn't like it. Multiculturalism is the idea that Australia has no culture other than the culture brought by immigrants from all around the world. In other words, our Anglo-Celtic...
Guy's got booted again. Well, guess what? I've got something to say about our culture, mate. And there's three great guys sitting here right now that can explain Australian culture to you. All right, because we're a bit older. Frank's a wog. All right, I don't know where Dennis come from, but a name like Matthews, he's from England or something. But Frank, he's a fucking full import, mate.
Pommy background.
Tedesco. What is it? Tedesco. Man, he's Italian. All
It's
right?
actually
When you come out here,
Todisco.
They just booted me again. So anyway, look, there's something that's really important with regards to immigration, and because everyone looks at America, and I wanted to bring in Brett Pike's to understanding of differences. It's with regards to what the culture is, and this is really important. But I might get booted again.
Immigrants easily assimilate into American culture, and others don't. Well, I think the answer comes down to honor, which many people don't realize is the most important word in the Declaration of Independence, because it's the last word. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor. Our sacred honor. You see, those weren't just words to Thomas Jefferson, as Jefferson's family came from England, a country that had been conquered by William the Conqueror in 1066. And at that time in European history, we were seeing the convergence of warrior culture with Christianity. And the result of that was the birth of chivalry. To be brave, courageous, loyal, to practice self-control, to protect women and children, to swear oaths that your word is your bond, and this was your sacred honor. And this is where knights come from, where family crests and coat of arms come from. Well, 149 years later, King John would sign the Magna Carta, which would later become one of the primary influences over the Declaration of Independence. It established the concepts of property rights, fair trials, and restrictions on taxation. And for the first time in human history, that the law was above even the king. And that's not how it was anywhere. This was a revolutionary advancement in the human experience. And that's where Jefferson and the men who signed this came from. And they were historically connected to and drew their inspiration from the Roman Republic, the Greek democracy, the Catholic Church, the Protestant Reformation, the Italian Renaissance, and the French Enlightenment ideas of individual liberty. A country founded as a Christian European nation. And this is why immigrants from the United Kingdom were historically easily able to assimilate. Italian immigrants easily assimilate. My family came here through Ellis Island around 1910. But it's like we've always been here because the culture was familiar. The Christianity, the Republic, was familiar. And that's how it is for most European immigrants in America, which is why those are the immigrants America allowed to come in for the first 189 years America was a country. But in 1965, they decided to change that to flood the United States with tens of millions of people from different cultures. Would you do that to Japan? Flood them with tens of millions of Europeans, of Africans, of people from the Middle East, of people from India. It's not that these are bad people, but these are different cultures. Well, in 50 years, would Japan be the same country? Would it be as safe a place? Or would we look back at it and say Japan was under attack and its people didn't realize it? That it had been conquered through open borders? Because on average, a lot of immigrants from other parts of the world world don't identify with the founding fathers. In fact, they view them as oppressors and villains. And then what happens in the schools? They say that teaching European history is mean, that there should be a hyper focus on how evil the European population is. And they just keep bringing in more and more and more people. Well, what is the result of that going to be? Why would we continue to allow that? I don't think anyone who loves their country would. I don't think anyone who respects their ancestors would. I don't think anyone who cares about their descendants would. And this is not meant in any way to demean people from other parts of the world. People have their own cultures, and that's okay. But we in America are entitled to our own culture, to our own heritage. And the immigration has gotten way out of control. And it's time to shut down the borders and to go back to pre-1965 immigration restrictions.
That'd be great if it could happen, but
Well, it's just really important to understand that immigration has been used as a weapon throughout history, and we're not when we don't see it, and it's got nothing to do with the color of somebody's skin. It becomes from a culture or an ideology. You've got a lot of people with different colored, more pigmentation that move here specifically so they can become Australians, or because they can take part in the American dream. Okay, it's very different from the mass importation of what is happening at this moment. Look, we're being taken out by a song with regards to the theme, and that was basically it's doing the rounds at the moment. It's gone viral, and it's the Deport song from the UK. So Dennis, thank you for being our guest. If you'd like to have some final words, and then Franco, if you'd like to have some final words, Dave.
I would just like to say thanks for giving me some space, guys. And Dave's set me up with this hardware. It's about to go flat. So even though his hardware's done nothing wrong, it needs to be charged. But anyway, thanks heaps, guys. See ya.
No worries. Go, Franco.
Yeah, well, divide and conquer has always been their playbook. They've divided us just about on everything on the platform, at the end of the day, culture is an interesting factor. You know what I mean? Like, we were all subjected to different cultures. I mean, my background, my parental background, and most of us, mind you, like I said, who sees? I mean, how this thing unfolds will be quite interesting. I think there's more to the story than meets the eye. So I'll hold reservation, but anyway, I just want to continue fighting, and for those who have fought, keep going. We've got it. We've got it. We're winning this hands down anyway. So yeah, thanks again.
As we win more, guys, we get persecuted more. All right, just remember that. But just also remember, and I'm going to give you a very good example of this very soon, I hope. All right, I hope. But God works in mysterious ways, guys. You think it's all up against you, right? There's no way out. And all of a sudden, the door will open. And maybe we've got a door like that. Maybe we can get a door like that for Dennis, and a lot of other people out there. So, again, as someone put up in the comments there before, guys, the world's a better place with you in it. Okay? So, hang around. All right? We love you. We need you. And we need the men of this country. All right? We don't need them being taken out 3 or 7 a day like we're being told on statistics here. So God bless all the men.
And you are enough.
And you are enough. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you are or who you are. You are enough. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Frank. And thanks, Dennis. Cheers.
Okay.
Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. If they're men, send them back. We haven't got room, we can't keep track. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Keep them off our shores, send them back to fight their wars. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. They rape, they lie, then want to stay.